Six Flags has a lot of parks, and I've been blessed to go to a number of them. These are the 10 best and worst Six Flags parks I've been to. Six Flags is possibly the largest amusement and theme park operator in the United States. They've got parks all over the place, including some in other countries. I've been blessed over the years to make it to 10 different Six Flags parks, and some of them absolutely stood out as much better than others. And there were a couple that were, well, let's just say they were interesting to visit. This is my list of 10 Six Flags parks in order from the best park to the worst park I've been to. There are a couple questionable ones on here as far as where I put them, and so I'm doing my best guess. And you will notice that there are some parks that are not on this list. Parks, for example, like Six Flags New England, Six Flags Great Adventure, Six Flags America, and that's because I haven't been to those parks. So if a park you're looking for isn't on the list, I just haven't made it there yet. So let's jump right on in with what may be the best Six Flags park I've been to. I have to be honest, my top two really could kind of go either way because they're both outstanding parks. But for now, number one is Six Flags over Texas. This is just a wonderful park. It's not the first Six Flags park I've been to, but it was the very first Six Flags park. It's where the whole Six Flags thing comes from. They've got 6 themed areas, all based on the Six Flags that have flown over Texas. Spain, United States, Texas, Mexico, France, and it's a wonderful park. Even now, after all these years when theming has kind of slid in many of the parks, it is still definitely evident at Six Flags over Texas. They've added a couple new areas, like they now have a DC area, some other things like that. Theming is still there, at least in some essences. It's a beautiful park, it's well grown in, it has a great variety of rides, and that's one of my keys. Does it have a variety of different things for different people? And Six Flags Texas has a fantastic collection of not just great roller coasters, but also family rides, thrill rides, and just all sorts of different stuff, including a couple really good dark rides. If you want a good Six Flags park, you're not going to go wrong at Six Flags over Texas. My only beef with them might be they're a little extra stringent on security, but that's not really a bad thing either. And hey, any park that can actually get you a huge map like this one, let's see if I can, like that, hey, that park is going to be a winner. That is just an awesome map. And yeah, I've had that one for a few years. Six Flags over Texas, that was hopefully coming this summer. Fingers crossed that everything works out for end of July. Maybe. Number 2, Six Flags over Georgia. This is a park that could reign right up there with Six Flags over Texas. We were there last year. We were also there back in 2004. Every visit I've had there has been great. Again, another park with a fantastic collection of rides. You've got the coasters, including a couple of the best coasters I've been on. They've got a fantastic stand-up coaster. Goliath is amazing. But it's not just coasters. There's a variety of things for everybody to do. My wife can't ride roller coasters anymore, but she was very pleasantly surprised with Six Flags over Georgia, where there were a number of things she could ride. All sorts of family rides, thrill rides that she was able to do, and just a big variety. It's well shaded. It's got some gorgeous areas with the trees that have grown in, and a very well taken care of, well maintained park. It's just beautiful. You want a fantastic park, honestly. Six Flags over Georgia is right there with Texas, and I could go back and forth. I could go to either one all day, all sorts of days. Just an absolutely amazing park. And I hope I can get back there again. Number 3, Six Flags Great America. Now, this park is a little different, a little special for me. This is the 2002 brochure, and that's the last time I was there. It's had quite a while for things to change, but at the time, Six Flags Great America was a wonderful park for some different reasons. I actually grew up attending its sister park in California. At the time was Marriott's Great America. Both parks were built very similar to each other, almost twins. Love that park. The theming at it growing up was fantastic. Great entertainment, great memories. So when I finally got to go to Great America, which at that point, neither park was Marriott's, they had had time to change, it was wonderful to see so much of the theming still present. The couple areas they had added were fully themed. It was still a theme park. Oh, the childhood memories that it brought back. They still had Willard's Wizard. They still had New Orleans Square. They still had the Flume rides. And with the Yankee Clipper and Log Jammer, it really brought back a ton of memories. I think the poor guys with me got sick of me saying, oh, wow, I remember this and I remember that. Absolutely loved my trip to Great America. Viper was an amazing wood roller coaster. Yeah, I would love to get back there again. Number 4. Six Flags Magic Mountain. I have to be honest, this park, I want to put it higher, but I can't. And it maybe could go a little lower, but again, I can't. It probably has the best collection of roller coasters of any park in the world. Yeah, I do actually like their roller coasters better than Cedar Point's. Cedar Point has some amazing coasters, but overall, I think Magic Mountain has a little bit better collection and they have more. But what knocks Magic Mountain down is it has almost no flat rides. It has almost no family rides. The ones that were there, they remove and they don't replace them. If you want to ride roller coasters, there's no better park. If you want to do anything besides a roller coaster, there's not much there. It's kind of sad because we lived near this park for years. I had a membership and an annual pass for years. I would go all the time. But there's so much more it could be, and they've lost so much of its history. I went back in high school, and it was an amazing park back then. But the theming is gradually declined. The theaters are almost all gone. So much of what made it a great park has gone. They've added coasters, but they've lost a lot. So here at number 4, it's kind of in a shaky spot, and it could actually go down even a couple more. But here's proof I went in high school. That's actually the map book from the first time I went. Way back. Number 5, Discovery Kingdom. This is actually another park I grew up with. I actually went to the original version of the park when it was in Redwood City, and at the time, it was not Six Flags. It was Marine World Africa USA. Then they moved to Vallejo, still Marine World Africa USA. Six Flags bought them and they became Marine World. And now they're Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. This is another park I have not been to in a long time. So its spot here on the list is based on memories. I still love the mix of animals as well as rides. It used to be cool to go see the tigers and to see the elephants and to see the sea lions and the dolphins and then go ride a coaster. It was a really neat mix, and unfortunately, from what I've heard, they haven't maintained. They've got a Rocky Mountain coaster now, but they changed a wood coaster that didn't need to be converted. Medusa was awesome, but there's some things that just don't quite make it up there. But again, I'm way overdue for a return visit on it. I would love to see how it is. I hope to get back out there to visit again in the next year or two. That would be absolutely wonderful. We'll see, but it's a park that for me has a lot of great fond memories. But my last visit, you could see it just wasn't quite what it was. And now it's had some years to change even more. Number 6, Frontier City. This is an interesting park. It's a small park in Oklahoma City. The first time I visited it in 2004, it was a Six Flags park, although it officially didn't say Six Flags, but you can actually see it says Six Flags Theme Park. But then they became independent again of Six Flags, and then a couple years back, Six Flags took them back over again. They've kind of gone back and forth. It's not a big amusement park, but the whole park is fairly well themed. Definitely a smaller park. But what they have, they do well. It's got a couple of very good roller coasters. It's got one that's a bit rough that could be so good. It has some decent entertainment. It has a variety of things. It's just not very big. What they have is good, but you can see that there hasn't been a huge amount of money put into the park. Now with Six Flags running it, that may change and we may see it grow and we may see it begin to do more. It's a nice park. If you're in the area, it's absolutely worth a visit, but it's not a park that you would travel to and make a destination like the other Six Flags parks I mentioned. The other 4, Six Flags Texas, Georgia, Magic Mountain, Great America, those are all parks that, hey, let's plan a vacation, let's go there. I don't know that I would put Frontier City in that class, but if you're within a couple hours drive, it's absolutely worth visiting. Very nice little park. Number 7, Six Flags St. Louis. This is another one of the original 3 Six Flags parks. The first one being Six Flags Texas. This was Six Flags over Mid-America, and then Six Flags Georgia. And then after that, the company got bought by others, and they began to buy other parks rather than build them from scratch. This is one of the few Six Flags parks that Six Flags actually built from the ground up. And in fact, if you look on the train cars, they still say Six Flags over Mid-America. Neat little bit of trivia. It's a park that I really want to like. The first time I visited was in 2004, and we really enjoyed the visit. But it is one that if you visit now, you can tell it has not had the TLC that it should. It just doesn't have the excitement and thrill factor. It's got some very good roller coasters in it, and it has a couple very horrible roller coasters in it. The entertainment is okay when you can find it. I did enjoy the saloon show, but it doesn't have very much as far as shows go. It doesn't have very much that my wife can ride, and that's kind of a measure for me of, okay, how good is the park? Is there a variety of things for people who can't ride much? And then the landscaping, it's a park that wants to be great, but isn't. The quality of the food is and unfortunately that was true at Magic Mountain as well last time. And you can see that it just isn't quite being pushed to where it should be, where it could be. It's a nice park. I do enjoy visiting when I can. I try to get up there once or twice a year, but it's a park that every time I go, I also kind of feel like I'm wanting more out of it. And here I'm going to hit a couple parks that are no longer around. Number 8 is Six Flags Astroworld. This is a park I got to visit 2 weeks before it closed. It had some wonderful rides, but at the same time, you could see why it was closing. It was a very busy park at the time because everybody was there to get their last rides, but you could see areas that hadn't been taken care of. The Batman roller coaster was absolutely horrible. One of the worst coasters I've ever been on. They did some strange things with operations, and I talk about that in another video, and you can kind of get a feel for why I'm like, yeah, I'm happy I got to go. I'm happy I got to experience it. I feel bad for the people in Houston. Unfortunately, Six Flags Astroworld kind of showed why Six Flags among coaster enthusiasts didn't have a great name and reputation at that time. What's really sad is it's just an empty lot there now. That's terrible. Number 9 was a short-lived Six Flags park with a kind of crazy history, and that's Six Flags Worlds of Adventure. This is the original Geauga Lake Park up in Ohio that was in competition with Cedar Point. Six Flags thought they would come in, buy the small amusement park, and do some big stuff with it, and they poured a lot of money into it, putting in some great roller coasters, built up a nice park. Then they went and they bought SeaWorld across the lake from it, combined them into one. It turned into a huge money boondoggle. Outside of Cedar Point, Six Flags World of Adventure can actually stand out as having the worst visit I've ever had at a theme park. We were on a trip from Pennsylvania coming back to Ohio. I was going to fly out of Ohio the next day. We were there 3 to 4 hours before the park was supposed to close, and hey, we'll catch it real quick. I had a pass. We'll go get a few rides. And we walk up, and they are actually chasing everybody out of the park. They're closing early, although it still has an hour, but they won't let us in. Even though there's time and all of us have passes and we're not buying tickets. We're not allowed to go in, and when we went up to a ticket window to ask, they slammed the window shut on us. Yeah. Whew, it was bad. I did actually get to go visit the next year and get to ride most of the coasters, not all of them. What they had there was nice. I wish I'd gotten to ride Big Dipper and Villain. The Batman coaster was wonderful. It had a couple other great coasters. Raging Wolf Bob's at the time was horrible. But when you just look at the whole management of the whole complex when Six Flags took it over, it was bad. It was just really bad. Then, of course, Cedar Fair bought it and scrapped the whole thing. Sad history. And then number 10, the worst Six Flags park I have ever been to. Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom. Now, I want to be clear. What is Kentucky Kingdom now is at the same place, but it is not the same park. It is completely different management. It's completely different rides. It has changed a lot. Please don't take Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom and apply it to Kentucky Kingdom now. Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom, the management of it was very poor. The clientele was very poor. The security was very poor. There were people walking around half undressed. There were teens that were very inappropriate, where me as an adult guy was going, please, I don't want to see that. The quality of the coasters at the time was not good in general. Several of them, like T2 was horrible. Twisted Twins, not good. Not in good shape. Just a number of rides. And one that stands out for me is standing in line at Thunder Run, and somebody in the line is going, "This here is coaster number 73. I wonder what it's called." And they're standing right next to a sign that says Thunder Run. Ugh. People around that park just kind of made you look around and go, oh, wow. It was a memorable trip, but for many of the wrong reasons. This is the park that a few years later on their Superman Power Tower had the accident that was really bad. It was one of those that those of us who had been to the park kind of looked at that and we went, not surprising. It was a sad thing. It was no tragedy when they closed it. I kind of felt bad for the fair, but leaving it closed a couple years, the new owners have turned it around and done some wonderful things. The last couple times I drove by, it was closed, and I was sad because I really did want to go because I've heard great things about Kentucky Kingdom now. So there is my list of 10 Six Flags parks from best to worst. Do you agree with my rankings? Do you disagree? Where do you think the parks I haven't been to should fit in? Those parks I haven't been to in a few years, have they changed for the better or the worse? I would love to hear. Please share it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button as well as share and subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to check the description too for information about fan pages, groups, equipment, merchandise, and all sorts of other stuff there. There's a ton there. You want to go look, really. I also want to give a huge thank you to my members and my patrons. Their financial support has actually helped me go to Six Flags Over Texas, Six Flags St. Louis, Six Flags Over Georgia the last few years. Their financial support makes so much possible, and I am so very grateful. If you want to know more about memberships, look for the join button below, or for Patreon and members, both look in the description. They also get special perks as well, so hey, check it out. Thank you so very much for watching, and God bless. We went last year. We were also there back in 2000. Yeah. I actually grew up attending at Six Flags? Outside of Cedar Point, Six Flags Worlds of Adventure actually has the... I want to make sure you know... This is the park that a couple years after we were there had the accident with the Superman Power of Tower. Their financial support. If you want to know more about memberships, if you want to know, yeah.